Hey guys, so in this video we're going to talk about writing equations of lines using the point-slope form of a line. So let's just jump right into it. What is the point-slope form of a line? Well, so for a point, so x1, y1, that's what that says, and a slope m, the point-slope form of the line is really this equation right here. It's this form. So basically the idea is then you can plug in your point, this x1, y1, you can match it up into the formula and then plug in your slope, and so this is just a really nice way to like easily come up with equations of lines, and it's very handy. I will show you kind of how to use it, and then I will show you why it's handy. We refer to it a lot. So let's just start by talking about writing the point-slope form of a line using a slope and a point, just to show you how easy it is to kind of take information like this. So remember, and you might want to write this down as you're kind of memorizing this. So y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So normally, if I wanted to write the equation of a line, it would be kind of a lot of work. But basically, now I have a slope and a point, so I can easily just plug it into this. So in this case, this would be y minus, okay, so this y1 coincides with this 3, so I'll write a 3 there. And then this m corresponds to this -2, so I'll plug that in here. And then I've got x minus, and then that's going to coincide with this 1, so there's the 1. Okay, and so there's your equation of the line. And so that's all I'm asking you to do right now, is just kind of get used to working with this format. And then in a couple of minutes, I will show you how you can use this format to do a lot of other things. So this is just kind of a little bit of a warm-up. So maybe what you want to do here is pause the video and try using the point-slope form of a line with this one, and then hit play when you're ready. So once again, I have y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So if I just take all this information now, so I'm going to have y minus -2 equals -2/3 times x minus 5. Now, it should go without saying that when you see something like this, the double negative, you just want to take this one step farther and then write this out as y plus 2 equals -2/3 times x minus 5. Now, naturally, some people will look at this and just know to do the flip, so they won't even write out this detail. I always like writing out all the detail because it makes me more likely to catch my mistakes, so that's why I wrote all this out. Okay, so now that we've got kind of the idea of how to use this information, what I want to do is I want to remind you of the slope-intercept form. So actually, maybe pause the video. Can you write down the slope-intercept form from memory? So it's y equals mx plus b, where the m stands for the slope, and then the b is the y-intercept, so that would be the point 0b, that would be the y-intercept. And then the other form of a line that we've talked about is the standard form. So again, maybe just pause for a second and see if you can remind yourself of that. Okay, so the standard form of the line is ax plus by equals c, where the a, b, and c are whole numbers or integers, so these can't be fractions. And then a and b cannot both be 0. So that's the standard form. So these are two things that you're going to want to know, because usually, like either the slope-intercept form or the standard form, those are the two forms of the line that you usually want to have in your answer. And so you can actually use the point-slope form to get you to that. So here's what I want to do now. I want to look at a set of examples. So I've got the point and the slope, and we're going to write the equation of a line in the desired format. So I'm going to show you how to put all this information together now. So starting with this first one, so I've got my m is -1, my point is 2, -5, and I want to have a line in slope-intercept form. Okay, so what I can do here is I start with the point-slope form. This allows me just to take this information and get the party started, okay? So if I just plug this information in, this will become, so I'm going to write out all the detail. Y minus -5 equals -1, and then x minus 2. So this is really y plus 5 equals -1 times x minus 2. Okay, so I've started with my point-slope form, and I want to push this into that slope-intercept form. And just as a quick reminder, so the slope-intercept form, so I need this in this y equals mx plus b form, okay? So to do that, basically I need to solve this equation here for y. That's what I have to do. So the first thing that I'm going to do then is I'm going to distribute this -1 into the parentheses. So I get y plus 5 equals -1x, -1x plus 2. And by the way, you could just write -x. You don't have to write -1x. That's totally up to you. I'm going to write -x going forward. Okay, so now look at where we're at. And what I need to do is solve for y. So really, I just to get y by itself. So I just have to subtract off the 5. So my final answer will be y equals -x minus 3. And so now this is an equation that I know has this slope and this point because I started out by plugging that point and that slope into this form of the line. And then basically I rearranged this equation to be in the slope-intercept form. So that's kind of the game that we're playing here. Okay, so I want to show you another example of this now, except I've got the slope m equals 3, the point 5, -4, and now I want this in standard form. And just to jog your memory, so the standard form is ax plus by equals c, and a, b, and c are integers or whole numbers, however you want to think about that. Okay, so now let's go ahead and get this party started. So I start with my point slope form, and I'm going to start by plugging in the information that I have. So I'm going to write this out as y minus -4 equals 3 times x minus 5. So this becomes y plus 4 equals 3x minus 15. Okay, so notice that I just started this by kind of simplifying this whole line here. Now, this is different from the last problem because I want to have this in a different form. So notice that with the standard form, I need x and y on the same side. And then I need the numbers together on the other side. So I can start by first getting this 4 out of the way and bringing it over to the other side. So I'll start by just subtracting off the 4 like this. So I get y equals 3x minus 19. But this is slope-intercept form. This is not the format that I need. I need standard form. So to finish this, I can go ahead and just subtract off the 3x. So I get -3x plus y equals -19. And so that would be my answer. However, I do want to just add a little note here. Depending on like the homework system that you're using, every once in a while, there are some books that say that this number, the number with the x, has to be positive. So if you run into that, which not everybody will, but if you run into that, then all you have to do once you get to this answer is just flip all of the signs. So just reverse all of them. So this is equivalent to 3x minus y equals 19. These are literally the same thing, just this is the negative version of this. So, and then also depending on like how you actually like arrange your terms, like if you had taken the minus y instead, like this could have been another way that you get the answer. So sometimes this will happen. So the one thing that you want to pay attention to is that you have the exact opposite signs. All of the signs have to be opposite. If you had something like, so I want to be super clear about this. If you had something like -3x minus y equals 19, this would be bad, right? Because this is not all opposite signs. So that would not be okay. But if you have everything as opposite, that is okay. Okay. So now I've got C here, so I want slope-intercept form. So I want to recommend to you that you try this one on your own now. So hit pause and then hit play when you're ready to see the solution. So I'm going to once again do y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So this is going to be y minus 3 equals -1/2 times x minus 6. And so now I've just got to distribute this negative in here. Now, in the event that doing the distribution is kind of throwing you off a little bit, let's see. What you can do here is you can actually just kind of write this out on the side. So if I do this, so I've got -1/2, so let's see, this is y minus 3. So -1/2 times x is just going to be -1/2 x, okay? And now if I did the other one, -1/2 times -6. So if that kind of throws you off, you can always just do the calculation on the side, right? So you can actually work this out. And so depending on how you think about this, so you could think of this -6 as being over 1. So this will come out to 6 over 2, so that equals 3. The way that I usually think about it is how many times does 2 go into 6? It goes in 3 times, but Tomato, tomato, however you get the job done is fine. So, all right, so now this becomes plus 3. Okay, so I'm in the home stretch. So I want this in the slope-intercept form. So just to remind you again, the slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. So I need to really solve this equation here for y. And so that's simple in this case. So I'll just go ahead and add the 3 to each side. And I just get y equals negative 1/2 x plus 6. And there's nothing else that you have to do here. It's totally fine to have this fractional slope. We could graph this, no problem, so we're good to go. Okay, so this last one now, we want to get this in standard form. So once again, I want to encourage you to maybe pause the video, give this a try, and then hit play either when you think you have the answer or when you're stuck, and then we can go through it. Okay, so I've got my y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Okay, so I'm going to plug in the information. So I get y minus negative 1 equals 2/3 x minus negative 5. So let me just rewrite this as y plus 1 equals 2/3 x, 2/3 times x plus 5. Okay, so first things first, I need to distribute the 2/3. Okay, so if I do that, I get y plus 1 equals 2/3 x plus, okay, so I'm going to blow out all this detail. So 2/3 times x, that's just going to give me the 2/3 x. So that's why that is what it is. And then 2/3 times 5, so let me work that out over here. 2/3 times 5. Okay, so remember this is a 5/1, so if I multiply these together, I get 10/3. Okay, so what I recommend is that you just leave the fraction as an improper fraction right now, because later on we're going to clear it out. So don't let it throw you off too much. Now, the thing to remember with this is that we want to have our answer in standard form. And so the standard form is this ax plus by equals c. But a, b, and c cannot be fractions. That's really like the big thing you have to remember with this. And you'll notice that where we're going right now, we have fractions. So I'm going to tell you a little hint. If you don't want to deal with the fractions, at this step, you can now clear them out. You don't want to do it until, I mean, I guess you could do it at this step, but at this step, you're totally free to clear them out. So what is the LCD of the fractions? Or really, what is the denominator of the fractions? Well, in this case, it would be just 3. So what I can do, so I'm just going to note this. So my LCD here is 3. So what I can do is I can multiply every single part of this problem by 3. And so this is something that we've talked about quite a bit in some of these other videos, but I'll just give you a quick refresher here. So basically by multiplying everything by 3, the big thing that you want to have happen is that the fractions will drop out their denominator. So this denominator cancels out with this, and this denominator cancels out with this. Now I know that that means that the other terms have to be multiplied by 3, but that's fine. So what am I left with? So let's just take a look at what I'm left with. So I've got 3 times y, so that's 3y. I've got 3 times 1, so that's 3. Now here, the 3's cancel out, so I'm just left with this 2x. So this is 2x. And then here, the 3's canceled out, so I'm just left with the 10. So here is what I am left with. And now I can finish getting this into that standard form, and I can already see that I've got all whole numbers that I'm dealing with, or integers. So we're good to go. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and subtract off the 3. So this is 3y equals 2x plus 7. And then I can subtract off the 2x, so I get negative 2x plus 3y equals 7. And so now we're good to go on this. So you've just got to be careful with the fractions when you have standard form. It's only in standard form that this becomes a problem, because remember, in the last problem, we actually had a fraction here, but this was okay because we were asking for slope-intercept form. So slope-intercept form fractions are okay, but like in this problem, standard form, you can't have fractions. So that's why we ended up with this answer here. Okay, and so that'll cover it for this video. Any questions, you can always drop me a comment. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll catch you next time.